Pioneer's new MVH-S322BT and MVH-S522BS are very similar, but have a few key differences. Besides disc slots, these single-DIN digital media receivers have everything you really need: Bluetooth, USB, auxiliary, plus Pioneer SmartSync compatibility. Stay tuned in a few minutes for our testing on both head units. Both stereos come with identical accessories: wiring harness, hardware, external microphone for voice recognition, warranty card, instruction manual, and single-DIN stereo. The wireless remote controls must be purchased separately. You'll notice the shallow chassis. That's because they're both digital media receivers. Again, no disc slot. And as similar as these stereos are internally, let's go over their differences, which start with their completely unique designs. The first noticeable difference is the matte black trim panel on the S322BT versus the high gloss trim panel of the S522BS. I prefer the S322BT because the matte prevents fingerprints and smudges. Both stereos feature a bass boost button and a navigation button to be used with Pioneer's app SmartSync. Overall, I prefer the design of the MVH-S322BT over the MVH-S522BS, except I like the buttons on the bottom of the S522BS. When it comes to illumination, the MVH-S522BS has variable color illumination, and the S322BT only has blue color illumination. The S522BS is Sirius XM ready with the SXV300V1 universal tuner, while the S322BT is not compatible with Sirius XM. Both require the Axxess ASWC1 interface to retain steering wheel control. The S522BS also has 3 sets of 4V RCA preamp outputs, while the S322BT only has 2 pairs of 4V RCA preamp outputs. The other rear connections on both stereos include radio antenna, wiring harness for power ground and speaker, external microphone, and wired remote input. All these extra features factor into pricing. The S522BS comes in at the $100 range, and the S322BT comes in the $80 range. In terms of similarities, both stereos feature radio tuners with 18 FM and 6 AM presets, no HD radio. Bluetooth offers hands-free calling and wireless music streaming from your apps and libraries. USB audio playback with a USB cable is not possible with your device. You must wirelessly stream your music, although the USB connection will still charge your device. With a USB thumb drive, the stereos can play back MP3, WMA, AAC, WAV, and FLAC audio files. Both stereos are compatible with SmartSync, which was specifically designed for Pioneer's non-video stereos. Download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store. Once you connect to SmartSync via Bluetooth or USB, you'll have access to all your music sources and apps, including iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube Music, everything. The navigation button on the stereo takes you out of SmartSync to your chosen default navigation app, whether it be Google Maps, Waze, or Apple Maps. Music still playing, of course. And SmartSync now works with Amazon Alexa. Both head units have identical audio settings. Alright, let's test these stereos out and see if they're identical internally. Pioneer rates both of these stereos 14 watts RMS by 4 channels at 4 ohms. Let's start with the MVH-S522BS. The first test we ran was 2 channels driven at 4 ohms, 14.4 volts, 1 kHz EQ flat. Our audio precision will generate our signal and measure distortion. At volume 52, our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 20.79 watts RMS. The audio precision read 1.03% distortion and 9.04 volts of output. We can swap between channels. Our AMM1 read 15 watts RMS, 9.07 volts on the Lumi, and we drew 4.30 amps of current. Down to 40 Hz, volume 50, our HP picked up 20.4 watts RMS, 1.03% distortion, and 8.96 volts of output. Channel swap. Our AMM1 read 17 watts RMS, 8.99 volts on the Lumi, and we drew 4.41 amps of current. Next, we tested the RCA preamp outputs, which Pioneer rates at 4 volts. At 1 kHz, volume 62, we got 4.7 volts, with 0.01% distortion. At 40 Hz, volume 62, we got 4.6 volts, with 0.08% distortion. Our final test was frequency response. We used our audio precision to run up each frequency. On to the MVH-S322BT. The first test we ran was 2 channels driven at 4 ohms, 14.4 volts, 1 kHz EQ flat. At volume 52, our HP picked up 20.52 watts RMS, 1.02% distortion, and 8.98 volts of outputs. Channel swap. Our AMM1 read 14 watts. We got 9 volts on the Lumi, and we drew 4.27 amps of current. Down to 40 Hz, at volume 55, our HP picked up 20.07 watts RMS, 1.02% distortion, and 8.89 volts of output. Channel swap. Our AMM1 read 17 watts RMS, 8.92 volts on the Lumi, and we drew 4.38 amps of current. If you notice a difference at 40 Hz between the S522BS and S322BT, on the audio settings we missed sound retriever on the MVH-S522BS, which was set to 1, resulting in a difference in volume required for output on 1 kHz versus 40 Hz. Next, we tested the RCA preamp outputs, which again Pioneer rates at 4 volts. At 1 kHz, volume 60, we got 4.9 volts with 0.01% distortion. At 40 Hz, volume 62, we got 4.7 volts with 0.074% distortion. Our final test was frequency response. We used our audio precision to run up each frequency. As we expected, these stereos are virtually identical internally. But which would you prefer, the $80 MVH-S322BT or the $100 MVH-S522BS? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to go to qualitymobilevideo.com to get all of your car audio and video gear with us today. Links for everything in the bio below. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that like button. Join the conversation below and subscribe to our channel if you're new. Thanks for watching.